Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of this, looking through photographs I took on a trip to Italy back in 2018. This first image is a church in the lovely city of Bologna. I will probably mention multiple times during this episode, and others if I haven't already, that Bologna is beautiful. It's an absolutely lovely city. Really like the place. This is the Basilica Santo Stefano. This is not quite right in the centre of the city, but it's not a really far walk from some of the other more famous sites like the two towers, which I'll show shortly, and the cathedral and the statue of Neptune and everything that's been in Piazza Maggiore, which is kind of the famous central square in Bologna. This is probably about a 5-10 minute walk away, down some streets and some alleyways, and then it opens up into a little piazza with this beautiful church on the one end of it. I really like this image. I think I've lined up the random street lights above quite nicely so that it frames it. Got these leading lines in the bottom on the actual paving itself, leading right up to the doorway actually of the church in the distance. Only thing that's bugging me slightly is if you look to the top left, there's sort of something jutting out. I think that's either the awning of a building nearby, or it's something hanging off these power lines or street light lines that are going across the top. So I'm not quite sure what that is. Should possibly have stood slightly further to the right to get that out. Otherwise, pretty happy with this. So I stayed right near the train station in Bologna. Long story cut short, I basically had an Airbnb sorted out, and then about 24 hours before I was due to leave Milan to get the train to Bologna, it cancelled on me. So I had to very quickly find a different hotel to stay at. I will say Airbnb were actually alright. I had to argue with them quite a bit, but they basically covered the hotel for me, which was, I suppose, expected. It was their fault that I didn't have somewhere to stay, so I bought a hotel and they just asked the invoice and covered it, so, cost the same. But this is a gateway of some of the old city walls that I had to pass every single day on my walk to the centre of the city. It's not a huge walk, and Bologna is a place where everything is covered by porticos, so even in the rain you don't get wet. We're talking like a 10-15 minute walk down a very long street, and it was covered the entire way, so there was no chance I was ever getting wet. This is the remains of one of the city gates. There are the remains of some of the walls to the left of this, over the other side of a road. But yeah, basically this entrance leads onto a road you can see in the background, and it just leads all the way down to Piazza Maggiore, which is the centre of the city where all of the famous sites are. I quite like this, mainly just because I like the sight of historical things, that ruins and just remains of previous human occupation just hanging around. I'd certainly like to see them in a modern city as well, where you see all the modern buildings and everything, and just modern life going on around, and these random things just in the middle. Rome is very good for that. Bologna as well is very good for that kind of thing. Oh dear, what have I done? I've carried on recording by accident. And here we have some of those walls with the remains. This stretches on for quite a way across the left of this image. I like arches. Who doesn't like archways? They're a nice shape, aren't they? And they are very photographic. A little bit annoying that I've managed to capture sort of an eighth of a third archway on the right hand side. Probably should have gone a bit tighter on the angle for this, maybe a bit closer. In that background there's the staircase, leads up to quite a nice park, which we'll probably go into very shortly. I believe some of the next photos coming up is in that park. One thing I will say as well, not related, but up that staircase there was a piece of graffiti that said "Fuck Salvini," which if you don't know who that is, go look him up, but I think most of us would agree with that sentiment. So these are two of the most famous sites that you're going to see in Bologna. These two towers have been standing for 800 years around about. The one on the left is much shorter. The top has sort of been lopped off. It also leans terrifyingly to an angle, so you can't actually go up it. But The one on the right, you can, and I did. It is also terrifying to climb up inside of. I went here on my own. Usually when me and my girlfriend go anywhere, or when I go anywhere as well, I will want to go up the highest point in a city, and I want to take a panoramic photograph of just what the city looks like. This was the best place in Bologna to do that kind of thing, from within the city anyway. And it does offer a stunning view, but there's no way I would have taken my girlfriend up there. She does not like heights, and she would not have liked this. The entire interior of it is sort of just, you can look straight down. So it's a staircase that goes all the way around the interior of the tower, but most of the time there's nothing below you. So yeah, you're not going to fall, but you feel like you might. It is limited how you get in there. You kind of get a set time frame that you're able to go into the tower. I think they let in 30 people at a time, and it's literally like a 10-minute climb to the top, have a look around for about 5-10 minutes, and then a 10-minute climb down, and that's it. That's all you get. But it's because it's a UNESCO World Site, I think, and you know, it's been there for 800 years. You can't have thousands of people smashing up and down these wooden stairs all day. They do limit it. But if you're ever in Bologna, I would recommend going to it. The view is absolutely stunning, and when you think about the fact that you're climbing up an 800-year-old, you know, skyscraper, it's pretty impressive how this thing was built in the first place. So yeah. Nice photo of it as well, I think. Let's actually talk about the photo. I think the photograph is quite nice. Obviously, you've got the standard of, if you're taking a photograph of a tall building, it looks like it's leaning backwards away from you in the image, just because that's how photographs work. But I think it's quite nice. It's domineering. It's looming up over the top of you, isn't it? It gives a very, very grand impression of scale of these things. Here is a photograph of the cathedral. This is the Cathedral of San Petronio. It is a very big cathedral, as you can imagine. The first time I went into this cathedral, it was thundering and lightning, so it felt like I was escaping from I don't know, God's wrath himself or something. As you can see, this is actually a much brighter, much nicer day. It was a little bit chilly. Don't let the sun fool you. It was a little bit chilly. You can see some people in coats and stuff, because this is October, November. But it's a beautiful building. It's very, very, very nice inside. Again, something I would highly recommend, and one of the more famous sites in Bologna as well. This is on Piazza Maggiore, which is the main square in the centre of the city, pretty much where all of the most famous things are, and the towers are literally just around the corner down a main street. And well, I mean, you'll just see them. You can't miss them. They're gigantic. Here is a self-portrait of myself. I'm not quite sure why I decided to take a self-portrait of myself. I don't look very much like this anymore because I don't have any hair. I've got more of a beard, probably. I mean, that's about a week's worth of facial hair growth there, but I've got more of a beard nowadays. I don't think I even have the watch that I am wearing there anymore. I've got that t-shirt. If you've noticed that, it's a Matt Day t-shirt. I have no idea where I got that from. I think I bought it from Matt Day's website many years ago when he had a few of them. So yeah, that's a Matt Day t-shirt. Shout out there. Yeah, other than that, it's a portrait of me. This could have been taken in my bedroom. It could have been taken anywhere in the world. It just happens to be in a hotel in Bologna, so it's in this roll of film. Really like this statue. Look how, I don't know how to describe it, but look at like just the mane of that lion, and just like the hairs on the buffalo, and just like the you can see the ribs and the claws and the veins. It's really cool, really well done. Shame that the lion looks like he's got some sort of weird moustache and beard combination going on that makes him look very odd, but the mane itself is very impressive. I got a thing for sculpture when it's done well. I really quite like this sculpture, hence why I took a photograph of it. Plus, I mean, it's in autumn, so you can see like all these lovely colours, you know, the yellows and the browns and the greens around in the surroundings of this park. I have only just noticed though, that tail on that lion is incredibly straight. It's like an arrow pointing right out its arse. So I don't know if that's his tail or someone shot him in the bum, but yeah, that is really straight, isn't it? Other than that, it's just a random statue. I just like to take a photograph of it. Here's another photograph from that park. It's a statue obviously commemorating the end of the Second World War. I have a feeling, don't quote me on this, I have a feeling this may be to do with the Italian partisans, because I'm pretty sure that Bologna was one of the first cities that successfully rose up against the Salo Republic as the Americans and the Allies were advancing up the Italian peninsula. So I think that's what it's for. As usual, do not quote me on that. Look it up yourself. It's a nice statue, though. Otherwise, it's very, very well done. I mean, look at the tattered remains of that flag in the hand of that person. That's impressively done. Here we have another statue. I have no idea what this one is. It's some nude woman with a horse and an octopus. Not a clue. Not a clue. Framed it quite nicely, I think. It's nicely central. It's a nice statue. Looks like it was once a fountain. Answers on a postcard. Okay, we're going to go quickly over the next two images because they're basically the same thing. So we have this one here. It's just a random street in Bologna, a random back street. I liked these columns on the left-hand side leading down through the street. And if you know my photography, you know that I like leading lines and I like small alleyways and I like street photography like this. The second image is exactly the same thing, but it's from a better angle, in my opinion. I don't know what I was thinking with the first one. I've obviously taken it a little too high up. Second one, I've sort of crouched down a little bit and taken it at a better angle. I don't remember if it's because I thought, ooh, I've done that wrong, I'll sort that out, or if it's just that I took a shot and went, oh, have I taken that on the wrong settings, and then took another one, because I do that a lot as well. The amount of times I've taken something wide open at 3.5 on this Yashica and then realised, oh, that's going to be horribly overexposed, or the other way around and shot something at f16 and gone, that's going to be far too dark, so I take the same photo again. So that might have been what I've done here. Now I think about it, the colours are slightly darker on the second image, so it might be that's what I've done, is I've shot it at a narrower aperture. But other than that, I think the second one is better than the first. Don't you? Okay, we're going to finish off this episode with this picture of the tower that I climbed to the top of, nicely centered in the image, zooming up into the sky. Look how much taller it is than those, what, 3, 4, 4-story buildings nearby, I think. Yeah, shame the sky is a little bit overblown because it's got some clouds in there, and, you know, if you're going to take a photograph looking directly at the sky, you're going to always have to have a compromise of whether or not you want the subject in exposed properly or the sky exposed properly, and with film it's not as difficult as with digital, but obviously you can't really edit it as well afterwards, so that's kind of what has happened here. I like this. I hope you like this, and I hope you enjoyed this episode looking through these photographs. As always, thanks very much for watching. Like and subscribe and all that kind of stuff, and go check out some of the other videos on the channel as well. Until next time, bye bye.